Well, you've got to look after your children, haven't you? Every parent wants to do the best for their kids, don't they? And he's disabled, so he's much more vulnerable. You can't just send a disabled child out into the world. I mean, it's not like having a normal child. He can't look after himself, so someone's got to do it. And who better than me? I brought him into the world after all. He's my responsibility.
Her responsibility? I wouldn't be if she'd let me have some responsibility of my own. I'm 23 years old and I've had my own house since I was 20, but my mum is employed as my carer and she's been paid to care for me 26 hours a week. More like 26 hours of interference. And that's just the start. Don't get me wrong, of course I love her. And I know she's trying to do the best for me. But she lives just round the corner and she's here a lot more than that. Believe me, it's a strain. Sometimes I think life would be much easier if I could move somewhere far away and get a professional carer. Someone who doesn't have so much close ties. But how do you say that to the woman who believes she's doing the best she can for you? I have said it, straight to her face. But it's like talking to a wall. She's my mum, and as far as she's concerned, nobody else can do the job like her.
I know my son better than anyone, so it stands to reason I'm the best person for the job. But to say I don't listen is utter rubbish. I've heard him, but he's not really thought it through. What are his options? I've known he wants a different carer, but I can't let some stranger come in and take over his life. Undressing him, washing him all over. What about his privacy? Plus, they're only in it for the money. How do I know they'll do as good a job as me? He's my son. I've seen him grow up. I know what he likes to eat. I know what he likes to watch on the telly. I know where he likes to go when he goes out. I've helped him with all of that since he was a baby.
There's a fine line between helping and hindering. She does all the things a carer should do, and she's good at it. Plenty of practice. She takes me to the toilet, washes me, dresses me, all the usual stuff that any carer could do. But she goes one step further. She knows, or thinks she knows everything about me. She certainly knows a lot more about a son than is good for a mother. There's meant to be a generation gap. I'm a young guy. I have friends. But she always insists on sticking around when I have company. Like she's one of my friends too. She's not. She needs to get a life, and I need some breathing space.
She's a control freak, and the worst kind. She acts the caring mother helper who's given up her whole life for her son. The problem is she believes it, and now he's her whole life and she can't let go. I reckon she's more dependent on him than he is of her. It's a horrible setup, but she can't see it. Frankly, I don't know how he puts up with it.
Basically, she wants me to be her puppet, behave the way she thinks a disabled person should behave, think the way she wants me to. And for years, that's what I did, just to keep the peace. But I don't know how a disabled person is supposed to behave. I'm just me, and I try to do what I want, when I want, and she can't stand the fact that the internet has given me opportunities to do that. With the internet, I can speak to whoever I want, anywhere in the world, at any time, and I don't need to rely on her to take me there. So I use it a lot, and I can do it in the privacy of my own room, which helps. Though it's amazing the number of things that suddenly need to be cleaned in my bedroom when I'm online.
I get worried about him on that internet all the time. He's using those chat rooms, and you know what they're like. Most of the people are only on it for one reason, and that's to pick up vulnerable individuals like Jim. He doesn't know the real world. There's a lot of nasty people out there, and he needs protection. He doesn't know who these people are, where they live or anything, yet they're online telling each other about things they've been doing. He's picked up all sorts of ridiculous ideas. He's even started to believe he can be like these other people. He can do the things they can. He can't, for God's sake. Look at him. He says that there's people like him doing all sorts of exciting things, and now he's talking about going to do different parts of the world, doing things that they say they're doing, over my dead body. I think he's just getting wound up and will come crashing back to reality soon enough. I mean, that internet, you just can't tell who's telling the truth, what with its chat rooms and forums and Bebos and Bookface.
Sure, I don't know the people from the chat rooms personally, but when we chat, I realise there's a lot of world out there waiting for me, and my friends are with me in that. But I think it scares the crap out of my mum, and I don't want to hurt her. Still, this time, short of sabotaging broadband, she can't stop them talking to me, and she sees herself losing control. Unlike with my real friends, who encouraged me to be more independent, she could control when and where I saw them, and for how long. So if it looked like I was getting too close to someone, she would somehow find a way of making it difficult for me to see them. Essentially, she would decide who I could and couldn't be friends with. I've had partners, some disabled, some not, and obviously in my condition, we've got a few issues to get over from the start. So the last thing I need is an interfering mother on my doorstep. Honestly, I'd swear she thinks the idea of me having a relationship, particularly a sexual relationship, is weird. What's so weird about it? I'm a 23-year-old guy. I have needs, and have had for a long time.
I don't want to see my Jim get hurt. It's tough enough for normal kids these days, what with all their social problems. All that stuff you see in the soap operas. Drugs, pregnancies, stabbings. Jim shouldn't have to deal with that. He's got enough on his plate as it is. The last thing he needs is a girl building him up and then breaking his heart. It would break my heart to see that happen to him. And why would she be faithful to him? I doubt he can perform the way she'd want him to. As soon as a real man comes round the corner, she'd be off and his confidence would be shot to bits. And these ideas of his to go travelling, he's not thought it through. Who's going to go with him, eh? How's he going to cope with the heat, the roads, the places without ramps? You know, in some countries, they don't care if you're disabled. You've just got to get on with it. Fend for yourself. He'd never be able to cope without me.
I'll go.
Sounds brilliant.